If these out-of-body phenomena and various other information reception, clairvoyance and all that sort of thing is so prominent, and there are indeed people who can go out of body at will and receive very little information, why do you think that there have been no experimentations done on that to really solidly, get somebody who can do this willfully into a lab, have
That's
them give you back
wonderful
information?
question. Yeah, wonderful question and wonderful point for us to bring, one which I have lots of information about, because I have dedicated a lot to try and do more research about the out-of-body experience. I know it's a fact, and I try to find different methods, and that's part of what I have dedicated my life to. The problem is that when we talk about proof is as good as the person who examines the proof can understand it. And when people look at these experiments, they are expecting something as objective as would be some experiment with the material world, that whenever you put like a chemical reaction of this element and this element, it will result in that. And if it does not, you have a clear explanation. And if you adjust that, the result will come back to be the one you expected.
Yes, and it will do it every time.
And we also, yes, so the repetition, but also in science, we expect that we can know so much about the phenomenon that we'll be able to predict what's going on.
Future testable predictions.
Exactly. But now what happens is we are talking about human beings. We are talking about human beings who are dealing with their education, repressions that they might have had, fears that they might have, limitations in how they can control the energies that connect their physical bodies to their non-physical part. We are talking about so many different variables that it's very difficult that we can reproduce and experiment with identical results. So we have had here at the International Academy of Consciousness different experiments, several of them that I have devised myself, some I have devised with my partner, Wagner Legrete, who is, by the way, doing some amazing research with some evidences that are astonishing, because he has been shown through functional MRI some results of our subtle energy in our bodies. And that's what we need, steps, building steps. But when it comes to putting all of this and doing these experiments, we find some evidences. We have very good experiments. But the next group you put together, next time you do it, it's not the same.
No.
So you would have to find an excellent projector, being able to project outside of their bodies, but with 100% success rate. I completely ignore any case such as this. Everything in terms of the out-of-body experience is a matter of degrees of success. Some people, they try 100 times and they will succeed one, which is not insignificant, because one success can show to an individual so much about life, physical life, life beyond, life and death, and what exists beyond what we call death, that is amazing. But for our way of recognizing what science is, we will consider that, it can't be, because if it were truth, the guy would have done that the other 99 times as well. There's one experiment we did that now comes to my mind that we call projective field. And it was not so much trying to prove the out-of-body experience. I don't think there is something feasible in the world as it is today, because the minority experience out-of-body experiences. Yeah. The majority have some cultural backgrounds that prevent them to being open to the idea. Many, they fear because of beliefs and the way they have been, educated. So we do not expect that, but we expected to bring more information about how the out-of-body experience happens. How can we find ways to help people to experience this more lucidly. And mainly how the brain brings the information of what has been experienced out there to this level here, not the brain, the consciousness. Because whatever we experience is beyond the brain. Now we want to recall, we want to have this right now in our minds.
Yeah.
And we distort reality. If you show the same environment to 5 people, they will pick different elements of that environment, talking about a physical environment. And people have perfect vision. And when it comes to experiencing the out-of-body experience, in bringing the account and whatever they learned out there, this is more complex because we need to find ways to verify what elements of the description are stronger. We can, how can I say, rely more on that description, and what doesn't make sense. Maybe the person mixed up, maybe the person doesn't remember well. Having said that, Darren, I just want to make a parenthesis. Dreams have no scientific proof. Nobody, if you tell me now that you had a dream just last night and that you were playing basketball, whatever you tell me, I have to accept. Yeah. I have no way of knowing that is true. Actually, when we think about out-of-body experiences, clairvoyance, people seeing ghosts or anything like that, we have many or infinite more evidence or possibilities of identifying if that's true than in the case of a dream. Because people have experiences in which they, for example, foresee the future, or it's not being foreseeing the future, it's like they have an experience in which they see an event that is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that happens. Okay, so that is something. Or like I did, that I saw something as a child that I could not have seen. You cannot say that is a dream. And whenever we hear somebody telling a dream, it's just purely subjective and we believe. Now, why is it that nobody disputes the fact that dreams may not be real? Because everybody dreams. You dream, I dream. If not everybody, what? 95% of people remember. Yes, the vast majority. So there's no discussion. It's a common experience. And in the case of the out-of-body experience, number one, it's not as common. Number two, it can be very confusing for the person to interpret because it can be very different from the physical reality. And number three, we have a lot of cultural, religious, and different impediments to examining that.